A single splash changed everything. It was the sound that made every creature freeze, every heart beat faster, and every friend realized that this sunny day by the water was about to test their courage in a way they never expected. If only Peter Rabbit and his friends had known in that moment that the peaceful lake they loved so dearly was about to become the setting of one of the greatest adventures of their lives. And by the end of it, they would never look at their lake the same way again. Peter Rabbit woke up that morning filled with excitement. The breeze carried the smell of wet grass and pine, and the birds chirped a melody that promised happiness. Today wasn't an ordinary day. Peter had invited his friends Benjamin, Lily, and Tiny Cottontail for a fishing trip at the lake. They packed fresh carrots, lemonade, a few snacks Mrs. Rabbit insisted they take, and their favorite fishing rods. The walk to the lake was filled with laughter and playful teasing. Benjamin bragged that he would catch the biggest fish. Lily and Cottontail argued over who would get the first bite. Peter just smiled, knowing that no matter what happened, being together was the real prize. When they reached the lake, the water shimmered like glass. Dragonflies danced over the surface, and the wind whispered through the reeds. They settled down on the shore and cast their lines. For a while, everything was peaceful. Too peaceful, Benjamin thought. He was waiting for something exciting to happen. Suddenly, there was a tug on Peter's line so strong that it nearly dragged him forward. Everyone jumped to their feet. Peter held on tight, his paws shaking from the strength of whatever pulled on the other end. Then, snap, the line broke, and Peter fell back into the grass. His friends rushed over, worried. But when Peter sat up, he wasn't scared. He was determined. Something powerful lived in that lake, and he was going to find out what. For the next hour, they tried again and again. Each time the mysterious creature pulled harder, fought longer, and escaped. Finally, Lily suggested something Peter hadn't thought about. They needed to work together. Benjamin held the fishing rod. Peter guided the reel. Lily helped keep the line steady, and Cottontail encouraged everyone while keeping alert for trouble. As they worked as one, the struggle became less frightening and more exciting. When they finally reeled in their catch, however, they didn't find a giant fish. Instead, they pulled out a small, frightened baby otter tangled in weeds and old fishing line. It wasn't a monster. It was a helpless creature calling for help in the only way it could. Peter's heart sank. How long had it been trapped? And where was its family? They gently freed the little otter, who whimpered weakly. The friends realized they couldn't just send it back into the lake, not until they made sure it would be safe. They followed ripples on the water and marks in the mud, hoping to find the otter's family. At last, deep inside the reeds, they found a collapsed burrow, damaged by a fallen tree the previous night. The baby's family was nowhere in sight. Lily's voice trembled as she wondered if the otters had been hurt. Peter reminded everyone that they couldn't lose hope, not now. They built a temporary shelter, warmed the otter, and searched the lake until sunset. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Cottontail spotted movement in the distance. The mother otter emerged, crying out desperately for her baby. The reunion was emotional, and the friends watched with watery eyes as the two nuzzled each other with relief and love. But the adventure was not over. Word spread around the meadow about what Peter and his friends had discovered. The lake was slowly becoming filled with old fishing gear, fallen branches, and careless waste from travelers passing near the woods. Peter realized that today's rescue was only the beginning. If they didn't do something, more animals could get hurt. So, he gathered all the creatures of the forest. Birds were sent to scout, squirrels collected debris from the branches, and everyone, from hedgehogs to mice, worked together to clean the lake and make it safe again. It wasn't easy. Some became tired, others discouraged, but Peter reminded them that every small act mattered. They were not just cleaning a lake. They were protecting their home and each other. By sunset, the lakeside sparkled. The baby otter and its mother swam freely, diving and playing in the open water. Lily leaned on Peter and said softly that she'd never forget this day, not because of fear or danger, but because of what they accomplished as friends. Benjamin looked at the sky and admitted that catching a giant fish would not have felt half as good as saving a tiny life. Cottontail, always the smallest but with the biggest heart, reminded everyone that being brave isn't about size. It's about stepping forward when someone else needs you. The peaceful evening breeze returned, and the lake shone golden under the fading sun. Peter smiled, knowing the adventure had changed them. They came looking for fun, but discovered something far more important. Kindness, courage, and unity could turn even the scariest moment into something beautiful. And as they walked home, Peter looked back at the water, feeling proud. The lake wasn't just a place to fish anymore. It was a symbol of friendship and responsibility. Long after the sun disappeared, the forest animals settled into their beds, dreaming of their adventure. And anyone who listened carefully could almost hear the soft splash of the otters playing happily, a sound that reminded everyone that a small act of kindness can ripple far beyond the moment. By the end of the day, Peter and his friends had learned that you don't need to be a hero to make a difference. You just need to care and take the first step. Would you like a thumbnail prompt, description, hashtags, or keywords as well?